What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, YouTube? How are y'all doing today? Yo. So today, a lot of people are asking me about the build I'm running. And today, I'm going to give you that build. So sit back and enjoy this gameplay right before I show you everything we got going on. Let's go. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, now, we're going to start with the weapons. People ask me about my weapons. It's not really about the weapons. The weapons do have a part in it, but it's mainly your gear. Okay? Now, Amber Vault. Amber Vault is a perfect weapon if you're running solo. Solo 15s, solo 14s, solo 13s, doesn't matter. Amber Vault is a beautiful gun. A lot of my friends tell me I should run 3-round burst. I don't like it. It's not for me. Me personally, I like the Amber Vault. The Amber Vault does so much damage if you do it right. Okay? Let's read the first mod. Killing shots increase damage by 25% for this weapon for 20 seconds. Bonus deteriorates with the time and stacks up to 3 kills. 3 kills. So you get 3 kills, 25% per kill, that's 75%, right? Now, what's the second mod? Dark Sacrifice. During combat, your weapon drains up to 50% of your max health in exchange for 75% weapon damage. That is always on. Dark Sacrifice is always on. You always have a 75% damage added to your weapon. Always. Okay? Now, if you get 3 kills with Killing Spree, that's 75%. That's 150% damage that you're doing to the enemy. Now, I would run this if I was running solo. Multiplayer, I would do the offering. I would do an LMG because this build gives you rounds back as you get killed. It refills your clips as you get killed. It has a bigger clip. Sometimes you'll be shooting at somebody or you'll be killing a monster or whatever, and somebody else will take your kill. You don't get your rounds back. I will show you how you get your rounds back. We're gonna get into that. But essentially, if you're running solo, I would do Amber Vault. Multiplayer, I would do offering. Secondary and handgun doesn't matter. It depending on how you play or how you want to play, they don't matter. I never use these unless I'm using Moaning Winds, but I never use these. Okay. Now, we're going to be running a 3-piece Monarch set. Bonus firepower, status power, long range damage. Status power, you need it. You need it on every build. You don't need it on every build. Really doesn't matter. But essentially, you want bonus firepower on every single piece of gear you have. It boosts your firepower by so much. Okay, now the mods that I'm running on my headpiece is Cryo Turret, spare mag. We're gonna get into that. But first, let's read the set bonus of a 3-piece Monarch. Increases damage on frozen enemies by 90%. Okay? 90%. So if the enemy is frozen and you're shooting at them, that's 90% more damage you are doing. Plus the 150 damage that with the mods on the Amber Vault, which will put you at 240% damage. Right? Right. Now, if you're playing multiplayer, I mean, obviously the damage won't be that much, but if you add the damage from 90% plus the 75% of Dark Sacrifice, that's 165% damage. So it's not bad. But if you got people who you're playing with who can hold their own, 165 percent damage isn't bad. But we're gonna do way more damage than that. Okay? Blighted Rounds. The skill affects 1 additional mag before triggering a cooldown. You will want that if you're playing multiplayer or solo, depending on which gun you got. I play with friends. I like the spare bag. I use the 100 round. Okay. 2 turrets can be placed before triggering. Twins. 2 turrets can be placed before triggering the cooldown. You need the cooldown. You need to have 2 turrets, because if you're running solo, you're gonna need 2 turrets, because sometimes it can get overwhelming. It can get really overwhelming. You can get surrounded by enemies. But with 2 turrets, it'll freeze most of them. It'll give you a chance to, you know, get out of the way, or maybe, you know, whatever. But while they're frozen and you shoot them, they will die so fast, because you're doing 90% plus another 150%, and you know what I mean? So it is what it is. Cold Snap. Killing the enemy frozen by this skill makes them explode, dealing 252,004 damage in a 5 meter radius. You want this. You want this in multiplayer. You want this in single player. You want it. You want it. Do you know why you want it? Because, let's explain. Now, we were talking about the 2 cryo turrets, right? Now, let's say you're surrounded by a bunch of enemies, like you're about to die, you're surrounded. If you freeze a group of those and you kill just one, it'll explode and kill or do a significant amount of damage to everything surrounding that one enemy that you are shooting at. You want this. This is so beautiful. It's beautiful. I love Cold Snap. Now, Captain Hunter, you always want Captain Hunter. Captain Hunter, any build that you run, whether it's Anomaly, whether it's Firepower, Middle Tree, whatever it is, you want Captain Hunter. You want to do as much damage to elites as you can, because the elites, they won't go down as fast as everybody thinks they do, but with this build, they will. Trust me, they will. Now, on my leg piece, I got deal 25% more damage against enemies afflicted with toxic. Right? Right. You know why? Your Blighted Rounds. Your Blighted Rounds does toxic damage. Your Blighted Rounds does toxic damage. And it boosts, and it deals 25% more damage against them enemies with toxic on them. You know what I mean? So think about it. 90% more damage to frozen enemies, plus another 25% with your Blighted Rounds. Not to mention, if you're running solo, that's 150%. Now let's do the math. 150 plus 90 plus 25% is 265% more damage that you are doing to enemies. 265%. Now, freezing boost. Boost the damage against enemies affected with freeze by 15%. You're adding another 15% on top of everything else you're doing. That makes it 280% more damage that you are doing to an enemy. On top of, okay, 25%, 15%, that's 40%, plus your 90%, plus your 150% if you're using the Amber Vault, or plus 75% if you're using the Offering. Dude, come on now. Really? Come on now. Now, trick up the sleeve. Trick up, I love trick up the sleeve. You will need this if you are playing multiplayer. You will need this if you are playing multiplayer. Trust me. Like I said before, people will kill your enemies before you get a chance to kill them, and you will not get your rounds back. You will need this. While the skill is active, kill shots grant 30% extra bullets in your mag. Maybe you never want to run out of ammo. You know what I mean? That's where the extra mag comes in. That's where the extra mag comes in. Spare mag. You need spare mag. Telling you, trust me, you're gonna love it. Now, Radical Therapy deals 15% more damage against enemies afflicted with toxin. Yo, come on now. We got 25% here, 15% here, 90% with the set bonus. You know what I mean? Then we gotta add all of this with the 100 round if you're gonna use the LMG or the Amber Vault. Come on, bro. We're adding another 15% to this? That's 295% more damage that you are doing to the enemy if they're frozen. If they're frozen. Now let's go down here to my boots. Bonus firepower. I cannot stress this enough. Every piece has to have bonus firepower because that's even more damage. Okay? That's even more damage. Deals 25% more damage against enemies afflicted by freeze. That's 25% more damage. That's 320% damage that you are doing to a frozen enemy with your Blighted Round. And it's not even the end of how much damage we're doing. We still haven't even gotten to the skills yet. Okay? Now, kill shots on enemies afflicted with toxic. Replenish 40% of ammo in your magazine. You're going to be using your Blighted Rounds the entire time. That's 70% more ammo you are getting back. Like I said, you will need to run Toxic Lead, and you will need to run Spare Mag if you are running multiplayer. It's essential. You will need it. You will always need it. You will need it on solo, depending on what type of weapon you use. Maybe you're killing a brute mother or something, and you can't even, finish her off with a full clip. But today, I will show you how to handle that, okay? You need this, okay? Now, let's get into the skills. Blighted Rounds. That will be your bread and butter for this build. Blighted Rounds is your bread and butter for this build, okay? Fill your current weapon magazine with decay and fuse bullets that inflict toxic onto enemies. Enemies within a small radius of the main target also receives toxic and 50% of damage. 50% of damage. Okay? You're doing 320%, right? And you shoot an enemy. The enemy next to him will take half of that. Dude, this bit, you can't beat, come on now. Come on now. Really, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. Cold snap. You always need cold snap. If, let's say we gonna start with the cryo turrets, okay? Your cryo turrets, they do freeze. They freeze enemies. Crowd control. You will need 2 of these. That's why I said on this build, you will need cryo turrets. 2 cryo turrets. Crowd control. You will need crowd control, crowd control, crowd control. Sometimes if you're running solo, you will need crowd control. Okay? Now, cold snap, I use most of the time if I'm surrounded by enemies or if I'm playing with a friend and I need to pick them up. Cold snap. Cold snap adds freeze. And you know what we do with freeze, right? You know what we do with freeze? We do 90% more damage. We do 90% more damage, y'all. Plus a 15% more damage. Plus another 40% more damage. Okay? I mean 25% more damage. Sorry about that. Cryo turrets. Unique cryo turrets. Cryo turrets, crowd control. I don't know how many times I can say that, but it's crowd control. Sometimes they'll take the enemy from looking at you too. Freeze. Freeze is beautiful. I love freeze. This build is a toxic freeze build. Blighted Rounds is your bread and butter. You will need this. It is essential to this build. Okay. Let's get into the class. Okay. We're going top tree. Top tree is the best tree to use if you're going firepower. Now, first thing we do, 8% weapon damage. 8% weapon damage. That's 328%. That's 328% more damage you're doing to the enemies that's frozen with your Blighted Rounds. Cooldown is essential. You need cooldown. Increase weapon leak. Now this build is squishy. This build is really squishy. But weapon life leech, you get health back. You always get health back. It's okay to not be able to just run through. Sometimes you might have to sit behind the wall to, you know what I'm saying, get yourself together. It's okay to do that. Nobody is just perfect at this game. Armor piercing. Armor piercing is nice. You need it. It helps a lot. Increase your critical damage by 15%. You always get critical shots a lot. You want to increase your critical chance? Increase your critical damage? There you go. Here we go. Every time toxic is afflicted on the enemy, vulnerable status is inflicted as well. You want them vulnerable. If they're vulnerable, you do even more damage. Even more damage. Okay? Vulnerable afflict on the enemy is 40% more effective. That's nice to have. 40% more vulnerability equals more damage. We want damage. This is a damage build. Now, this is a long range. Long range, decrease the distance is considered to be long range by 3 meters. That's nice. You want that. Sometimes the enemies are closer than you want them to be. This will help you with the long range. It always helps. Now, here we go. Another 8% damage. Another 8% weapon damage. On top of everything you got. That's 336% more damage. Decrease the distance of long range. Okay, we got into that. Okay, here we go. Enemies afflicted with toxic receives 10% more damage. 10% more damage. That's more damage. That's 10% more damage. That's 346% we are at, people. Okay? Increase your weapon damage by another 8%. Another 8%. That's 354 damage. We're going to go up here to Assault Master. Increase your assault weapon damage by 20%. 20%. Okay? That's 375% more damage we doing. to frozen enemies with our Blighted Rounds. Increase assault weapon damage by 12%. There we go. 386%. Armor piercing, 10%. Increase the damage you receive from all sources. I mean, that's what makes this build so squishy. But you deal an additional 20%. That's 406% more damage you're doing. Increase your long range damage by 30%. 30%. That's 430%, people. That's 436%. Increase your clip size by 50%. Any gun you use will give you more bullets. You want that. You always want that. Playing multiplayer, you need that. Here we go. Enemies afflicted by toxic receives 15 more percent, bro. 15% more damage. That's 451% we are doing, people. Okay? After decay increases weapon damage. Activating decay increases weapon damage for you and your ally by 40% for 10 seconds. So, soon as you hit your Blighted Rounds and they're frozen, the enemy takes 491 more percent damage. You cannot beat that. You can't.